Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the session. I'm Deborah. I work for Innova Education. You were invited today because you hold an offer from the University of Aberdeen, or you might be planning on applying to the university. So we have invited today Paul McBean. He's Regional Manager for the Americas at the University of Aberdeen. He will be giving the presentation. Thank you, Paul, for your time. I ask everybody to please keep your mics muted, and if you have any questions, please write them down in the chat that is available on the right side of your screen. So I leave you with Paul. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope everybody is well, and the coronavirus outbreak has not impacted too much and everyone is keeping safe. Today in Scotland we are about to hear tomorrow from our First Minister and the government about the possibility of moving into the phase 2 of exiting lockdown. So the virus here seems to be a wee bit more under control, and hopefully we will start to see a bit more of a return to normality. Thankfully, over the last few weeks and months, as we've been in lockdown and been going out to exercise once a day, as per the government's advice, it has actually been quite nice and sunny and warmer than it might normally be, so we haven't been affected too much by the Scottish weather you may have heard about. Today I thought I would give a bit of an overview of the university and then highlight some of the new information to do with the outbreak of coronavirus and some of the information the university has put out there to our applicants. Some of this may be things that you have already received emails about, other bits may be new to you. Obviously, I thought this session would be really helpful for me just to answer any questions. Now, obviously, if there are any questions today that I can't answer, please be assured that I will follow up in an email and let yourself and the team at Innova know. So I'm on the call today from the city of Aberdeen. So I have lived myself in Aberdeen for the last 15 years and also graduated at the University of Aberdeen. The city itself has a population of around 230,000 and is regularly voted within the safest city or in the top 5 safe cities of the UK. At the moment, 1 in 6 people who live in Aberdeen were born outside of the United Kingdom. So there's a very cosmopolitan feel, not only on campus, but also in the city itself. We have a vibrant, creative and ambitious city, which is known for its historic charm, as well as its cosmopolitan and international community. The city is home to an international airport with direct flights to London, Amsterdam and Paris. So there's really good connections for travelling out to Mexico. So anytime I'm travelling for work and have the pleasure of travelling to Mexico, I'm able to connect very easily with the airport only 20 minutes away from the city centre. Thankfully, we don't have the traffic that you guys have in many of the major cities, particularly Mexico City. So it is easy to arrive at the airport and make your way to your accommodation very quickly. The city offers students a great quality of life. There's a variety of different beaches on the doorstep. So from our campus, there's a 15-minute walk to the main beach in the city. The mountains are also only a short drive away inland. University Botanic Gardens that students can access all throughout the year. It's a great place in the summer to sit outside, have a coffee and relax. And during the winter, it's a good place to have a walk round and maybe get a break from your studies. The city of Aberdeen itself is, doesn't suffer from some of the same challenges bigger cities do. So we don't have that much pollution and we also have very fresh, clean air. It's a really relaxing city to live and to study in. At the moment, Aberdeen has recently just opened a new exhibition centre. So Aberdeen, as you may know, is the energy city in Europe. So many Mexican students come to study energy-related programs at Aberdeen, and many Mexican nationals also work in the city. There's over 200 FTSE 100 companies and they predominantly are in the energy and the energy related sectors such as finance and legal companies. As I mentioned, the exhibition centre opened this year, or last year rather, for a cost of £333 million. This makes it one of Scotland's largest exhibition and conference venues, and on the very first few weeks of opening it held the Energy Expo. This is held every 2 years in Aberdeen and is a large international event where academics, industry leads, as well as members of members of staff who work across the sector meet and discuss the different changes and opportunities in energy. It very much started as oil and gas, and as the energy sector has diversified not only in Aberdeen but worldwide, it now takes into effect all different types of energy. Every year it is in Aberdeen, we are lucky to have a stand and publish and present a lot of our work and a lot of our expertise to industry. These are some pictures of Aberdeen. As you're obviously outside of Scotland just now, I thought I would show you a little bit about the city. So on the left of my screen, we have the beach, which is, as I say, just a short walk from campus. On the right-hand side, that is a picture of the main thoroughfare in the city centre. This is Union Street. This is about a 15-minute walk from or 20-minute walk from our main campus. And the picture on the bottom left is Marshall College. This used to be part of the university's medical school, and when the medical school moved up to the hospital, the university leased this building to the local authority. Students are able to have the opportunity to walk around, access its museum, as well as a number of cultural and arts events that happen throughout the year. Every February we have an arts festival that is held in the city, and Marshall College plays a prominent part. So it really is a part of your experience here in the city. As I mentioned, Aberdeen is not just a large, not just a city, but we are also very close to the outdoors and to the seaside. The picture on the right here is Stonehaven, which is a small seaside town, about 15–20 minutes by train outside south of the city. Stonehaven is your traditional picturesque seaside town with great fish and chips, a lovely beach, opportunities to get an ice cream and really get yourself out of the city and really have that opportunity to relax. I highly recommend making a visit there, even when the weather is not so good, because you can always sit by the harbour in one of the lovely restaurants and bars and watch the bad weather hopefully disappear and then go and enjoy the good weather on the nearby beach. Now obviously, I'm sure as many of you have done your research and many of you hold offers, you will know a lot already about the university. So I thought I would go over some of the key points of the university. The University of Aberdeen was founded in 1495. That makes us the 5th oldest university in the UK. The university just now has around 15,000 students, and that is split around 10,000 undergraduate and 5,000 graduate and PhD students. As you can see, just over 1 in 3 of our students come from outside the UK. This year we were lucky enough to welcome students from over 120 different nationalities onto our campus. If you, like me, want to study in an international and diverse campus, Aberdeen really offers that. When you're studying in class, you will not find yourself being the only non-Scottish student. You will find yourself in classes with people from all around the world. This really adds to your experience. It gives you a broader understanding of particular subjects, particular challenges maybe facing your discipline, but it also helps build up your network of alumni. Many of our Mexican students have made great connections here in Aberdeen, not only with other Mexican students and other students from across Latin America, but also with individuals from across the world. This is particularly useful when moving into your career, and having those connections helps you build on that successfully. At the moment, the university has around 150 different master's programs, and I believe a number of different PhD areas. The university is also home to 5 Nobel Prize winners over its 525-year existence. and it is regularly named in the top 10 most beautiful historic universities in the UK. The picture we have here to the right of my screen is New King's College. This was built in the early 1800s and is at the heart of the centre of the campus. This is an active building and is used for lecture, seminar and tutorials. So many of you will have the opportunity to not only pass this wonderful building as you spend time on campus, but you will also have the opportunity to have classes there. This is King's College campus. This is the heart of the university. When the university was founded in the late 1400s, the main university was King's College. It is a historic district within the city of Aberdeen and is a 20-minute walk to the heart of the city. The university is a wonderful mix of the old and the new. Not only do we have these ancient buildings and the ancient facilities, we also have a brand new library, wonderfully modern accommodation and an excellent sports village. For many of our students who come from Mexico, we are starting to see an increase in interest in the health sciences. So for our students who come to study those programs, we have a campus at the Forester Hill Medical Facility. This is home to the largest hospital in the northeast of Scotland, as well as 4 medical centres of research. The Sutty Medical Centre is an award-winning 5-storey building, as well as hosting a number of amenities and departments. So students who come to study on campus, be it at Old Aberdeen or at Forester Hill, are given excellent facilities, as well as wonderful training spaces and areas to meet with other students and their colleagues. So this here just gives you an insight into some more of the facilities. On our left hand side and the far right, this is the inside and outside of our library. Our library was opened in 2012 and is a 7-storey building that hosts over 1 million books and journals. This library is open nearly 24 hours. So if you're a student who prefers to work in the evenings, you have got this wonderful space to do so. Or if you're maybe like me and prefer to get in early, get your books and study out of the way, then we open regularly from around 8 AM. In the middle here, we have pictures of the aquatic centre as part of the sports village. The sports village was opened in 2 stages in 2009 and 2013. This gives students the opportunity to take part in recreational sports, competitive sports, or just using the facilities to take a break, be it the gym, the swimming pool, or maybe the indoor soccer field. For many of our students, this is a really exciting part of the campus, and it is only 5 minutes from the library, which you see here. Obviously, when moving to another country to study, one of the most important things, not after your studies, is obviously the city and where you would live. For many of our students, they choose to stay in the university accommodation. Our accommodation is around a 15 or 20-minute walk from King's College to the main campus, or 20 minutes on a bus into the city centre. Hillhead was a purpose-built student village and has recently undergone a significant renovation and redevelopment. In the central building, there is a wide range of spaces where students can relax, can access information and support, as well as doing basic grocery shopping. The on-site shop is open 7 days a week and has an excellent range of facilities. Across the campus accommodation, there is also wireless access, which is the same access you have when on campus or in class. As well as that, there is laundry facilities, a cafe bar, a restaurant, and the opportunity to undertake a number of different activities. The Students' Association also run a number of events up on campus, so you may have the opportunity to take part in yoga, weekend trips, etc. This here is just some of the pictures of the accommodation to give you an idea of what you would be able to have if you stay at the university. Our accommodation is organised by level of study. So as Masters or PhD students, you would be living with other students from that kind of background. So you don't need to worry if you're doing your Masters that you're living with younger students who maybe are doing their bachelor's degree and maybe don't have quite as much of a workload as you do. Now, the University of Aberdeen this year celebrates its 525th birthday. Now, it's all very well and good being an old, ancient university, but you want to know that it is a modern, forward-thinking, highly regarded institute. So in 2019, the university was given the title of Scottish University of the Year. One of the main contributing factors to that was the international campus and international student body that the university offers its students. The awards body thought that that was an excellent opportunity for students to get a truly international experience. This year we have been received our highest rank in the UK University Guides, and we are now just sitting outside the top 25. And we're also a world's top 200 university. This year as well, we found out that the university sits within the top 50 universities for international students. So when you come to Aberdeen, you will have a strong Scottish feel to your experience in terms of the campus, the environment, but you will also find yourself as a part of a global community. Now, obviously, we couldn't give a presentation without discussing some of the challenges that have been brought about by COVID-19. The university has and is continuing to monitor the situation and work with the Scottish and UK governments to ensure that the safety of all staff and students is at its priority. As many of you, I'm sure, are doing over in Mexico, the university has moved to remote working and learning for this semester. So I myself, as you can see, are in my kitchen, and we have been working from home as a precaution since March. The university has essential staff working in the university, though my job is very much on the laptop in emails, so they have kept me at home. The university has moved the start of term to the 21st of September this year, with classes beginning the 28th. So for many of you, that is a 2-week delay. What this has been allowing the university to do is give a little bit more time for the outbreak here in Scotland to move through the different phases, for the university and the government bodies to work together to ensure that we can open up campus. So that extra 2 weeks has been critical in doing that. Now, many of you may have had questions about how people will learn, and the term blended learning has been mentioned, I'm sure, to you already. So we will be offering that style of learning in semester 1. The blended learning is an opportunity for students to have a mix of learning. It is not only face-to-face, but there will be some online and digital components. The blended learning will primarily focus on smaller group learning, so your tutorial, your lab work can be conducted in line with social distancing and the recommendations set out by the government. Though some of the larger lecture theatre style experience will maybe be replaced with an online class or maybe smaller group work. What the university has ensured is that the way that the blended learning is delivered will be different depending on the programme you are taking. As master's students, you will be taking more specialist programmes. These typically have smaller class sizes. So, the larger lectures that, some of our undergraduates go through will maybe not be as applicable to you. So the university is working with our academic community to deliver the same level of education, but in a slightly different way to ensure the safety of everybody involved. As part of this approach, you will still have access to all the usual levels of support, whether that's on campus or when you're learning online at initial start point. Now, we are hopeful that we will see as many students as possible on campus in September, though we understand that dependent on the restrictions in place in the UK, or indeed where our students are coming from, that we may have some students join us later. Now, we appreciate it is very difficult to tell how every person we will look to have on campus will have different restrictions to deal with. We understand the challenges this will cause. So we are hoping that the system we have here will be able to support everybody, and we're always happy to answer any questions you have. I know the team at Innova are very well organised and are keeping in touch with myself and my colleagues as well, so we will make sure that the most up-to-date information is with you. Now, as we had mentioned, the blended learning, one of the other areas that we have as a university looked at doing is increasing the number of January starts. These include areas in business, engineering, law, as well as across many of our other schools. Already, we have a number of students over the years who come from Mexico who look to start in January. We appreciate that the COVID-19 outbreak is not only impacting our offering and the availability for students to come to Scotland, but we know it's also impacting things like scholarships, maybe examinations, etc. So if you are looking maybe at the possibility of deferring, if you follow this link, you will be in a position to find out if your programme is also available in January. Now, one of the other challenges that the university has worked closely to support its students with has been the English language requirements. Now, many of our students who come from Mexico have sat previously things such as the TESOL, or the TOEFL, IBT, or indeed the IELTS exam. Now, obviously, with examinations being cancelled and students facing delays, the universities in the UK have worked with other providers to offer alternatives. Now, in the response to this, we have been able to approve the Duolingo English test, Language Cert International, as well as the TOEFL IBT Special Home Edition. We know that many of our students who come from across Mexico and other parts of the world will obviously be requiring these English language tests. If you have not been able to sit your normal test or have faced delays in booking one, then you can have a look at the alternatives here and see if this is something that's suitable for you. We know that our students who come to study at master's level always do really well in their English exams, so it's important that we have something that they can use to help them in their studies. Now, I thought I would go and give a wee bit of an update on some of the scholarships that are available to students this year. Now, I know that the economy decisions have been extended in terms of the application process and also the deadlines for when students will hear. So the University of Aberdeen has an agreement with CONICET that covers Masters and PhD students and offers students a 25% discount. We also work with FUNED, and that's supposed to say FUDER, apologies for the typo there. We have a 20% discount with both those organisations, as well as a 10% accommodation discount. So if you're funding your studies through FUNED or FUDER, you can get, on top of the 20%, a 10% discount on accommodation. This year, the university has also introduced a new scholarship for self-funded students. So we have offered a guaranteed £2,000 fee reduction. There is no application required for that scholarship. You will be automatically awarded that if you have already applied to the university, or if you are not at this stage of an offer holder, you will be made that scholarship when you made your offer. This scholarship is not able to be offered in line with CONICET or FUNED, but can be used as a standalone discount. So if you're maybe unfortunate in your application for one of the funding bodies, or if you have got the money set aside just now, we do have that scholarship. We also have our funding database where information is regularly updated by myself and my colleagues, and you can see the link just there. Now, I thought I would finish on a wee bit about the support ahead of any questions you maybe have, and about getting to know the university. So obviously as international students, you will be maybe coming to Scotland for the first time or living overseas for the first time. So the amount of support that is available, not only in your lead up to your studies, but when you arrive, will be really important to help you as you settle in. Now, we're very fortunate that we have a very active Mexican Society on campus. In the last few years, the Mexican Society have run a number of events for students, both social events as well as careers-focused events. They have helped the university welcome the Mexican ambassador to the UK to campus in 2017 or 2018. They also hosted regular meetups during the World Cup in 2018. They were joined by many Scottish people, as we sadly had not made it to the World Cup, but they were very welcoming for a number of our Scottish students who got a Mexico jersey or flag and supported the team. As you can see, we have, the careers service, the Students Association, student support and counselling, which may be, ever more important to students as we face some challenging times. As well as that, there is hundreds of sports teams, clubs and societies. So if you're looking to get to know people outside of class, if you have a hobby that you really are keen to continue, you will hopefully find that here at the university. Now, as I mentioned, one of the biggest questions I always have, and probably the most frequent question I have ever had across the world when doing this job, is what is the weather like in Scotland? Now today, as I say, it has been sunny, quite mild, and it has been, a really nice spring, and now as we move into summer, very promising. This here just gives you a bit of an idea about the average temperatures in Aberdeen. Now, many of you maybe have travelled to Canada or to the US, and we do not, thankfully, have the extreme winters that they have there. So you'll be maybe cool, but you won't be freezing. And in the summers, it's not as extreme either. And I have been to Mexico in May, and for me that is much warmer than the Scottish summers. And you will find that the weather here in Scotland does not have the extremes. So hopefully it will be comfortable throughout the year. The key thing to remember when you're packing for coming to Scotland is layers. And the same day you may need sunglasses, it might be the same day you need an umbrella and a rain jacket. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea. I've just put up my details here, and obviously I'm available, throughout, the rest of this journey as you, prepare your paperwork, maybe provide documents, working with the team at Inova. We will be happy to answer any questions. Now, thank you very much for joining us, and I would be more than delighted to answer any questions you have this evening, or this afternoon in your case.
Thank you, Paul. So if anyone has a question, could you please write it down in the chat? But let's wait just a few seconds to see if anyone. I know that Desiree wanted to ask you something about accommodation, but there's a question. It's in Spanish. Let me translate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's applying to CONACYT, and there might be a gap between the amount that CONACYT covers and the actual tuition fee. So she's asking, when does she has to pay that? Does she have to pay it before leaving Mexico or once she has arrived to the university?
So that, if there is a gap for the accommodation, or for the tuition, apologies, what we would do is we would reflect that on maybe the CAS document. Obviously, that there would be, if the payment was made up front, we would reflect that. There isn't any requirement for the student to make that payment until they're in Aberdeen. So when they receive a letter letter from CONUSEAT, that would obviously give them the confirmation that their fees are being paid. That would then apply the scholarship that the scholarship discount that we have with CONUSEAT, and then any remainder the student would be able to arrange for the payment of that when in Aberdeen.
Okay. Thank you, Paul.
No problem.
Let's see if there are any other questions. Jaime is asking, when are you going to be able to arrive in the university before the course starts for purposes of setting bank accounts and health insurance, as well as setting into the city itself?
So, so with classes beginning on the 21st of September, move-in weekend is traditionally the weekend in advance of that. So move-in weekend this year will be the 19th of September if you are coming to stay in university accommodation. If you are, choosing to stay outside campus, then you'll be able to arrive before the 19th, provided your possession of your visa and it has the entry date earlier than that 19th. I think you can, with your Tier 4 visa, arrive up to 30 days prior to the start of your programme. So there is the opportunity for students, if they wish, to arrive from the third week in August. Most of our students tend to arrive that first weekend or move-in weekend. In terms of the things like bank accounts and health insurance, the university during registration week and welcome week will be able to give you a letter that enables you to go and set up a bank account in the UK. There is a number of local branches, in a short walk or bus journey to campus, so you will be able to set that up very easily. In terms of health insurance, there is no requirement for students to have their own private health insurance. When a student is coming to study under the Tier 4 visa, that gives them full access to the NHS. So you would pay a surcharge when making your visa application, and that is the contribution to the NHS. Now, in Scotland, the Public Health Service covers everything from routine doctor's appointments, any emergency care you may or may not need, but also covers things like prescriptions. So in Scotland, you're not required to pay for a prescription if you're going through the National Health Service. So you wouldn't have to worry about health insurance payments. But the university can also give you documentation that enables you to register with a local doctor's practice. And you will find many students doing that in that first week or two in terms of the term.
Thank you, Paul. We have another question. It's this one is regarding accommodation. Desiree is asking, how can I get the student ID in order to apply for accommodation?
Yeah, so what the university does with its accommodation is, if students are unconditional firm on our system, so that means that they have met all their conditions and accepted their offer, we will then process that documentation. Now, if a student is awaiting financial confirmation, so in terms of any scholarships or maybe their own financial paperwork, they're awaiting for that, we would not have them cleared admission at that stage. If the student has met all their conditions and is just awaiting that confirmation, if they want to email me, I can, with their applicant ID, I can see if we can maybe put their name down beside a type of accommodation. But usually the student ID comes with their joining pack. So that would include their CAS for their visa, as well as information to enable them to apply for accommodation. as an international student, our students don't need to worry that they will be made a guaranteed offer of accommodation. So provided students apply by the deadline, which is usually the third or fourth week in August for September, they will still be made an offer of accommodation through the university. And we're always happy, as I say, to answer any questions that students may have, and they can get in touch with me or through yourselves, and we can look to support them with anything like accommodation.
Says thank you. And we have another question from Teddy Solares. It says, hello Paul, my question will be, what is the percentage of the tuition fee to be paid before the start of the program, and which are the paying methods?
Yeah, so in terms of payments, we don't have a deposit scheme, so students are not required to make a payment of any deposit to secure a place at Aberdeen. In terms of making a payment, we ask for the students to make a payment of 50% during registration, and then the remaining balance can be paid over the next 3 to 4 months. Students can pay variety of ways. We have a section on our website under making a payment, and students can pay by money transfer. They can pay by debit card or credit card, and they can pay by bank transfer as well. So whatever is most convenient and most suitable for them. So I know a lot of our international students maybe pay with a bank transfer, or through one of the money transfers like a Western Union type account. The students can access that on the making a payment. I can certainly include that link on this presentation and send to the team at Innova, so you can follow that through. If you're receiving your tuition through any of our scholarship bodies, we invoice the funders, so there's no requirement for you to pay the full fee and receive the money back or anything. We can invoice Conaceit or FUNED or whoever it may be, and they will then process the tuition payment from their end.
Thank you. We have another question from Jimena. Are there other scholarships to study a PhD program at Aberdeen besides Conaceit, FIDEL, and FUNED?
So in terms of things for PhDs, I would ask the student to just refer to the funding database, which is on our website. The PhD funding at the moment, we had a central fund that is being reviewed just now from the university. But often if students are looking for funding, we can direct them to the funding database, but also if it's for PhDs, if you are maybe in correspondence with some academics about your potential thesis or the subject that you wish to study, they too often have information on funding. At the moment, the university has been doing quite a broad review of all its funding. The scholarship that we have for all of our master's students was the first of the new scholarship schemes announced. The plan had been to move further discussions on to undergraduate and to PhD, though the COVID-19 outbreaks had a bit of an impact obviously on that. But certainly having a look at the we know that we've had students using external funding for studying in Aberdeen, things like Shavening and other scholarships like that.
We have another question from Jaime. Jaime, when arriving in Scotland, are we required to complete a quarantine period?
Yes, so at the moment, the UK has a quarantine of 2 weeks in place. Now that was only launched on the 8th of June, I believe, and I believe that there is going to be the first review of that at the end of the month. So the universities are are keeping abreast of that at a UK level, and we are sharing our information. The university is also looking at ways that it will support its students if a quarantine is still in place, in terms of, you know, how we will support our students in their accommodation, etc. What I would recommend is on our website, we have obviously the COVID-19 help pages. Any major changes to things like the quarantine or any entry or requirements, we will make sure that we send that information not only to you know, our students directly, but also to our partners, you know, the team at Inova, etc. So at this moment in time, there is a quarantine, though we don't know how long that will be in place just now.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Desiree.
Yeah.
What is the living cost approximately for a month? And around how much do you think we will spend per month in food, accommodation, services, etc.?
Yeah, so I think I always say to students that they can spend in living in Aberdeen anywhere between £800,000 a month, and that would include their accommodation. Now, it depends on your individual lifestyle, maybe what kind of things you prioritise your spend on. The biggest chunk of your money will be your accommodation. Now, if you're staying in university accommodation, that already includes your utility bills, contents insurance, and Wi-Fi. If you're staying off campus, you may have a slightly cheaper rent, though you will have bills to pay on top of that. I would say that, you know, to give you an example, a lot of our students will tend not to use public transport that often, unless maybe the weather takes a turn or they're maybe travelling to go and get groceries. You know, a lot of our students save some money by walking, maybe by getting a bike and, you know, using that across campus. Aberdeen is a very compact city. You know, somewhere like, you know, Mexico City or Guadalajara, you know, they are far, far larger than any city you would find in the UK, other than maybe obviously London for many. So I think it gives you an opportunity to save some money there. In terms of grocery shopping and eating out, there, you know, there's shops and restaurants, you know, suit all budgets. Beside the university and the accommodation, there's a number of grocery stores that you can buy, you know, your weekly shop or, you know, ingredients for dinner at not too much money. I think there will be times where you may spend more money, and you know, maybe during things like the spring break in April, there's usually 3 weeks there, so students maybe take some time to travel, and you know, maybe use some time to, you know, some money there to go and see different parts of the UK or Europe. So you may spend a bit more then, but I think Aberdeen on the whole was, I think, came out as the second most affordable city in the UK to be a student. So I think it offers a good standard of living, not too expensive in comparison to other UK cities.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any other questions? I don't see any coming in. So let's give a few seconds to see if
yeah, no problem.
Another question pops up. I think not. But anyway, oh yes, there's one extra question. For EU students, are we required any type of documentation as visas when arriving in Scotland? This is a question from Jaime.
Yeah, so at this moment in time, if you possess an EU passport, students are not required to have a Tier 4 visa for entry into the UK. What we would always say to any of our students travelling is, if you have obviously your passport with you, but you also have, you know, in your hand luggage your university offer. So if you have copy on your phone or a printed out copy. That was all that would be required, and the university paperwork, along with your passport, would allow you to clear customs, and the border patrol would see that.
Thank you. So if you have any other questions later on, you can write to me. I'm gonna give you my email address, or you can write to your study advisor. If I don't know, I will contact Paul, or he's giving you his email address as well, in case you want to contact him directly.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is. That's my email, if anyone needs anything else. So I know it's late over there, Paul, so thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Thank you for the presentation.
Well, thank you very much, for having me, and thank you to everyone for joining. What I will do is I will add in a link to the payment section of the website, and I will forward the presentation to the team at Inova. So if anybody wants to get a hold of that, please do let the team or myself know, and I can send that across. Obviously, between now and September, we hope that everybody in Mexico, you and your family and your friends keep well, and that we look forward to having you join us on campus either in September or in January. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please do get in touch. And as soon as it's possible, we will love to be visiting Mexico and meeting with as many of our students as possible.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. So we have been recording this session. We will send it to the students. If you want us to send the PowerPoint through or any other link, we can also send it to them. And to others that maybe were not able to join, we will make sure that they have this information. Thank you, Paul.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Good night over there. Bye.
Bye.